If you are a technology professional, you're not going to want to miss the show that we have today. We're going to talk all about architecting a bold new world where it comes to the intersection of technology and culture. Join me on this very special live show as we chat with various speakers for the upcoming InnoTech Conference in April. So tune in and sit down, get your notes ready, and we'll see you on the live. Let's start the countdown. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this very special live show where we're going to speak with a variety of speakers that will be at the InnoTech Conference in Dallas, Fort Worth area on April 19th. And we are very excited to be featuring the speakers. But in the meantime, let me introduce myself. My name is Fanny Dunagan, and I am a live stream host as well as a LinkedIn content strategist. And I'm very passionate about featuring a variety of technology leaders, helping them build their brands, leave a legacy, and make an impact for the next generation of technology leaders and professionals. So we have a very special show. In the comments, let us know where you're tuning in from. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Introduce yourself and let people know what you do. I imagine we have a whole host of technology professionals in the comments. So please let everyone know what you do. Treat the comments as a place for you to network, meet other technology professionals, meet other people here on LinkedIn, and build your network and build your connections. You never know who is in there, and it's a great way to kind of meet maybe potential new connections, partners, clients, prospects, whatever that may be, vendors. Introduce yourself and tell people where you're tuning in from. And I see here we have, let's see who we have in the show. Harsh from Richmond, Virginia. Welcome to the show. We have Deepak from Houston. Welcome to the show, Deepak. We have a whole variety of folks just tuning in. So welcome, welcome, welcome. So I want to bring on my co-host today. He is the president of Prospera Events, Sean Lowery. Sean, welcome. How are you?
Good. I didn't know I was a co-host. Now you just made me nervous.
No. Co-host, facilitator. All good, all good. I'll handle everything.
Okay, good. All right. I'm here.
No, you have a big job as it is being the president of Prospera Events and also the organizer of one of my favorite technology events and conferences in Dallas, Fort Worth, and that is InnoTech Dallas. So, Sean, tell us a little history of InnoTech and how it began.
Yeah, I mean, I think InnoTech has been around for about 17 or 18 years. Started many years ago. Our first event was in Austin, followed shortly by our event in Dallas, with a third event in Oklahoma that will happen this year. All the events have been around for 10 plus years. So we've definitely, this is not just a roadshow that pops in and pops out. We're really dedicated to each community that we're in and hosting these events. And InnoTech stands for innovation and technology, and how you blend those two together and how they can help companies, right, with technology and with their organizations. The misnomer out there that I want to get out there is that InnoTech is not the company off of Office Space. That it is called InnoTech, but it's spelled differently. We're not affiliated with Office Space. I don't have red staplers here. It's innovation and technology InnoTech, but we get confused with InnoTech all the time. It's kind of fun.
Awesome. And what kind of motivated you to start this? I mean, as you said, it's been happening for many, many years now. Who did you kind of create this conference for?
So, I mean, long time ago, I worked for another company and we actually produced similar events in these regions. And then after a period of time, I circled out and started my own event company to produce events that were more regional in nature, not national events. The joy of doing this is getting to see the local people coming together once a year for these events. And it's almost like a homecoming type activity where people are so busy in their day-to-day jobs, they don't get to see each other as much. And so it's fun for me to be at these events and watch people shake hands and talk about how they haven't seen each other in a year, the last InnoTech, and the partnerships that are created, the education that's brought, the deals that are done. It's just a fun time for me to produce these events and watch people get together.
Awesome. And for all of you out there that are in technology, let us know, put hashtag technology in the comments and let us know where you're tuning in from. And how many of you have heard of InnoTech? Put hashtag InnoTech in the comments as well and let us know if you've heard of the InnoTech conference. I know you've become really affiliated with a whole variety of associations in Dallas-Fort Worth, Sean. The Association of Business and Technology Professionals, ABTP, as well as the Alliance of Technology and Women. Tell us about some of those kind of close relationships, especially ATW.
Yeah, one of the goals for the event was really, like I said before, is to bring everybody together. So we work with in Dallas, we probably work with 15 different nonprofit associations to host, like the North Texas ISSA is hosting their monthly lunch at this event on April 19th. The DFW ATW with the Alliance of Technology and Women, they're the host of the Women in Technology Summit. We're working with Project Management Institute and just an ABTP I'd mentioned, and just a whole host of different nonprofit organizations, and trying to provide them a platform to be further recognized in the community and further celebrated for all the good things that they do. We want to put everybody on a pedestal at one time where we can, and just recognize and celebrate them and bring everybody together.
I love that. You've really built a community everywhere you've gone with these conferences, Sean. So
Yeah.
very, very exciting. Today, some of the speakers that will be at InnoTech are going to give you all a sneak peek into their talks. And before I introduce our first speaker and guests, any final words, Sean, as to some of these speakers that are going to be coming on? What kind of connected you to them, and what sparked you to feature them as speakers?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in general, this year the event is presented and sponsored by Red Hat and AWS, which I'm very excited about for the first time. So they're bringing a lot of just great technologies and speakers to the event. Overall, we'll have 35 different presentation topics for people to listen to and hear from throughout the day. We've got 60 plus speakers, and I was excited to bring the 3 of them, which I think are all fantastic presenters, to this show to kind of get some background about it and kind of get people excited about the quality of speakers and content that we plan on delivering this year for the program.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we're going to play a video from one of the conferences back in 2018, right, Sean? And tee it up for us. It was,
Which one
yeah,
is this? Sorry.
this is the one with EC Council.
Oh, yeah, they were great. In fact, they emailed me the other day to help out with the hackers program they've got coming in Atlanta. But yeah, they came in and they did some great videos, and I didn't know what they were doing, and all of a sudden they sent me this clip and background of the event, which I really appreciated. So yeah, it was fun to see.
I loved it. So we're gonna get that rolling so every one of you can see a glimpse into the InnoTech conference. Let's roll
Excellent.
that.
InnoTech is a brand of a conference. It stands for Innovation in Technology. We have 5 regional events. We have an event here in Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Austin, Oklahoma City. In each city, it's a regionally based business-to-business technology and IT innovation conference and expo. I'm Sean Lowery. I'm the president of Prosperity Events, and we produce the InnoTech conferences. So it takes about 5 or 6 months to put together the event. It happens in one day. We work with a lot of different organizations, and one of them is EC Council. I think with InnoTech, because we are regionally based, it's important to work with a lot of different organizations and partner with them. We're here once a year, and so if there's organizations like EC Council that are close by and they're in a marketplace all the time, it's important for us to work together and build something, and then allow EC Council to continue that throughout the year, and then work together once a year for this event.
There you have it, folks. A glimpse into the InnoTech Dallas Conference. Sean, I am now going to bring on one of the InnoTech sponsors, as well as a speaker and a facilitator of the CIO panel. Let's all welcome E.G. Nadhan to this live show. Nadhan, welcome. How are you?
Very good, Fanny.
Awesome.
Great to be here.
Awesome. I want to read to everybody your bio here because it is super impressive. As the Global Chief Architect Leader in the CTO organization at Red Hat, Nadhan practices, leads, and coordinates Red Hat's Chief Architect efforts internally and externally, including building strategic C-level relationships with customers and partners, as well as media, marketing, and speaking engagements that increase affinity for solutions, architectural patterns, and emerging technologies. Nadhan also provides thought leadership on various concepts, including cloud, quantum, analytics, edge computing through multiple channels, including industry conferences, executive roundtables, as well as customer-specific executive briefing sessions. And he sits on the advisory board for the Minnesota State University, Macanto, and Governors State University, and the corporate mentor at Wayne State University. Nadhan, what an impressive list of accomplishments. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
I will give a much shorter introduction, if you will. I'm the Red Hat guy.
I love it. Yes, and you got your Red Hat going. Actually, tell us real quick what Red Hat is known for.
Absolutely. So we are known for open innovation, very simply put. We are the world's largest enterprise software company with an open source development model. What that means is we work the open source community 24/7. It's the world's largest software development research and research lab, if you will. But we bring the projects, the innovation that happens there, and provide enterprise grade functionality and secure it so that mission critical applications can be run by enterprise customers, and while they continue to innovate technology. So that's what Red Hat is all about. But if you want to think about 2 words that come to mind when you think about Red Hat, it's really open innovation. We are here for you, no matter where you are.
I love it. Open innovation. And speaking innovation, look at that. Our live stream is bringing somebody all the way from South Africa. So thank you for joining us on this live stream. So Nadhan, you're facilitating a CIO panel, and the topic is called the Crossroads of Resilience and Innovation. Tell us a little bit about that and why this topic, why resilience during these times.
Yes, I like the way you phrased the question, Fanny. You didn't ask why innovation. I mean, there has always been
That's
the need.
assumed.
Yes, exactly. I mean, that's pretty much become table stakes. But what's new is companies need to be resilient. They need to have measures in place so that they can not only anticipate the next change, the next setback, but also be better prepared to deal with it, to the extent that sometimes change can be a catalyst, just like we saw during the pandemic. It provided an opportunity to address scenarios that we may not even have thought of before the pandemic. So there is a call for enterprises to be not only resilient, but also continue to innovate. It is not that, oh, we need to be resilient, so let us kind of pull the stops and stop innovating. Not acceptable. The customer is very demanding. We all as individual consumers are demanding. So we want the innovation, but we want the services provided and the products provided continuously, no matter what the setback is. That's why I'm fascinated to be at the crossroads of resilience and innovation, Fanny.
I love that. I do want to give a shout out to the CIOs that will be on your panel. We have Chris Bolt for the CIO of Center of Autism, as well as Amy Evans, the CIO of LPL Financial, and Brian Mork, the CISO of Trinity Industries. Now, Nadhan, what are some of the questions that you're going to be asking this panel?
Yeah, I'll get to that, but I do want to kind of call out the mix of industries that we see here.
Yes.
So Trinity Industries, it's about rail cars, products and services that they provide. And then LPL Financial is in the financial industry, investments and all that. And then there is a purpose here with the Center for Autism and Related Disorders. So we are talking about the financial industry, the transportation industry, and having human impact on with people with needs around autism and so on. So it's a fantastic mix. I would even venture just bringing these three leaders together is going to be like a fertile ground for innovative thoughts that might not have come forth otherwise. So shout out to the CIOs and the mixture of thoughts that they bring. So coming to the question, you posed, what types of questions? So I'm planning on starting with, the word resilience. What does that mean to each of them? And given the different industries they are, part of, I would expect the answers to, be more specific to the domains that they cover. And I definitely want them to contrast resilience prior to the pandemic and now. What are the lessons learned? What are the opportunities that they see post-pandemic that may not have been there before? And to me, the most important question that I have is, what are some proactive steps that they can take to be better prepared for the unpredictable setbacks? Because they don't come with notice. I wish I could say we have like a guideline or a guidebook that we can, follow up on and say, okay, calendar, May of 2028, something is going to happen. It doesn't exactly work that way. So all we can do is to be prepared for the next change so that when it comes in, we are not taken unawares. And what are such proactive steps that they can take? And then how has the need for resilience impacted the mandate for innovation? And how are they balancing that? And finally, me wearing the red hat, I'm bound to have a question around technology. What's the role of technology to balance resilience and innovation? So these are just some questions that I have in mind, but Fanny, thanks to your efforts and Sean's efforts, we are out there on LinkedIn. The attendees on today's call and anyone else following the network are more than welcome to comment as to what are the questions that they want to pose. And depending on the question, you never know, that may be bumped up the list. You never know. There you go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So just to reiterate what Nadhan said, for those of you in the comments, pose questions that you would like to hear CIOs answer when it comes to resilience. I think that's a great way to spark conversation and to kind of dive even deeper into this topic. And it's definitely things that we want to showcase and share at the InnoTech Dallas Conference. And you're going to see a whole variety of QR codes here for you to connect with our guests, as well as to register for this great conference. It's going to be at the Irving Convention Center, so it's a huge venue to handle the big crowd that is coming. And so, Nadhan, I do want to reinforce a bit more about Red Hat and the things that you do. So thank you for sharing with us what you're going to be speaking with the CIOs on your panel. And in the meantime, I'm going to be playing this Red Hat promotion video. Can you tee it up for us and share with us the context of it?
Absolutely. So we are all about technologies on the edge. And when I talk about edge, I'm really talking about the edge devices. And I will also say, I'm not here to say that we can do it all. We always work with partners. It's a very wide partner ecosystem. And in this case, you're going to see a video about how we have partnered with Intel for the Intelligent Edge Center in Houston. So this is Texas, may not be Dallas, but it is still Texas, and it is in Houston. And this is a video of what you will experience when you actually walk into the center. And so the message to be taken away is how we partner with companies for our customers. So our mantra is customer first, partner always. And that's what you will see in this video on how we do this with Intel.
Awesome. Customer first, partners always. Okay, let's roll the video.
Energy and the industrial sector is one of the biggest industries that is transforming over the next 5 to 10 years, all with the introduction of edge computing.
The Solution Center is a collaboration co-working space on the west side of Houston in an area known as the Energy Corridor. We've been working with Intel and Chevron as partners for the Solution Center.
And so what we're creating is kind of an open, safe space for people to be able to innovate and prototype new types of technologies, whether it be sensors or ruggedized devices.
We deploy that hardware into the Chevron lab, and then that's exposed to the outside world for testing. We're accelerating taking these things we've showcased and designed with our customers and partners to get those into production.
Bringing all of these pieces together and allowing people the freedom and the closeness of having this practice space within the lab is what will spark the next set of innovation for these industries.
I love it. Before I let you go, Nadhan, I do have a question from the audience, and I'd love to bring it up here from Randall Mills. Shout out to Randall Mills, one of the folks that I've met at the Association of Business Technology Professionals. He asks, is the role of technology to innovate businesses and create new products in the marketplace? What do you think, Nadhan?
So I will cautiously answer that question, because what I don't want to have come across is, we just use technology for technology's sake. As in, just because there is something exciting, new technology that has not been used before and so on, it doesn't have to become a product. We have to absolutely see, is there an outcome that, are we realizing outcomes that were not possible before? I'll take an example. Quantum computing, it is one area where we are now able to address problems that we could not even identify or think about with classical computing. So there is a purpose to that. So if technology is actually enabling outcomes that we couldn't realize before, or it is actually, getting to the same outcomes faster in a simpler manner, definitely cheaper to the consumer, absolutely, we need to double down on that and possibly even retire some of the other technologies. So my answer is yes, only if it realizes new outcomes or gets us to the existing outcomes faster and making it simpler for the consumer.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Nadhan. We look forward to hearing more of your topic, as well as to hear from those other CIOs on your panel. So stay tuned. We'll loop back with you at the end of the show. Thank you, Nadhan. Okay, I want to bring on our next speaker that will be featured at InnoTech Conference, and that is Nancy Coblenz. How are you, Nancy? Welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone. Hi, everyone in the comments. I'm so glad you guys have joined us live so that you can ask any questions that you want.
Absolutely. Yes. So this is a great opportunity for all of you in the audience to have access to these amazing experts. So please make sure you connect with them as well as to pose your questions. But before we get into that, I want to share with people, Nancy all that you've achieved. You are the Vice President of Marketing for Act One Group, the multi-billion-dollar employment solutions organization leading all marketing initiatives for 19 of their sister companies and division. You're making a positive impact within the DE&I as well as the community of young women forging their pathway to success through STEM. Love that. And building a substantial movement for women gaining business and job equity in STEM careers. Nancy has over 15 years of tactical marketing experience, garnering over 20 million in sales for the companies she's worked with. And some of her recognitions include the LA Times Most Inspiration Women Leaders in Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Business Journal Top Female Leaders, Maverick of the Year from Stevie Awards, Women in Business, Women Rocking the Web Awards, and a whole variety, as well as 32 under 32 Most Innovative in Marketing and Advertising, and National Women's Day Entrepreneur of the Year. Nancy, wow, and there's more to come too. That's just in your short career so far.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me, Fanny. I'm really excited about this.
Absolutely. So everyone, Nancy's going to talk with you're also co-hosting a talk at InnoTech, talking all about the convergence of AI and the Metaverse and what this means for humanity. Now, there's all these terms that I've heard around this, things like augmented virtual reality, generative AI. Can you help us kind of navigate all these different definitions and what they all mean? Some of the key ones, at least?
Absolutely. And, when we're talking about these types of topics within technology, these are things that, just like Nadhan said, these are within the edge, if you will. This is kind of the area that I love to play in, which is you are not bound by anything but your imagination. So however, innovative you want to be, this is the space that you can play in. So let's kind of break it down a little bit. So I think a lot of you have already heard about virtual reality and augmented reality. That is technology that is able to kind of put you in a first-person point of view within a technological reality. Augmented reality typically overlays your current physical reality that you have now, which is usually through your phone. And then with virtual reality, you usually have a headset. So I'm sure a lot of you have known about the Oculus Quest. That's probably the most popular one that people have used. There's so many that are out there. There's Magic Leap. There's a bunch of others out there. And coming from that space years ago, AR and VR was slated and predicted to be the next big technology, as a lot of you know that Mark Zuckerberg invested so much into the metaverse and hasn't really quite played out the way that the industry has thought it was going to. And then now with the newest iteration of generative AI, I'm sure a few of you have heard of ChatGPT. That is a chatbot that was produced by OpenAI. What generative AI is a little bit different than your typical artificial intelligence machine, where a typical artificial intelligence prompt or query will take a bunch of pieces of information and data sets and predict an answer. With generative AI, this is where we're now in the precipice of really a new dawn of technology that is really user-friendly, where you can input a lot of current data like text, so articles, captions, white papers, PDFs, of anything that you can, as well as imagery and video, as well as sound. And you put all that information into this AI machine and it'll think about it and it'll be trained on that information, which is a lot different than what we've had as a technology in the past. So this really is changing into a new season for technology when it comes to the usability of that new futuristic technology that you see from the Jetsons.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even in my business for content marketing and branding, I'm using ChatGPT to generate titles and explore topics. I'd love to hear from the comments and the people in the feed that are tuning into the show, let us know what kind of AI or virtual reality tools you're using in your business, in your day-to-day life right now, and let us know your thoughts on that. We'd love to hear from you in the audience. Now, Nancy, with all this AI, all this virtual stuff, one of the things you mentioned is like, how do we kind of tie that back to humanity? Give us a teaser of what you're going to talk about around that.
Absolutely. So if you really think about how, technology really initially was an innovative tool to help humans do things faster and more efficiently, if you think about that. And now that we are in this intersection between utilizing the metaverse with generative AI, what we're really saying and doing is that a lot of our labor-based skill sets, like writing, drawing, ideating, researching, that takes many, many, many hours, can now be done within seconds. And from the dawn of our time, and back from Greek philosophy, what is the biggest attribution and kind of accomplishment that humans have is we want free time to think and be creative and have that time to, do things that satisfy our own personal needs. And so that's where we're coming into now, is that we're making space for humans to be human again, and that we don't have to be tied down to laborious types of tasks that fill our time and our brains.
Yes, yes. And I know you'll be speaking with another expert on your talk at InnoTech. So give a shout out to your co-speaker and presenter as well.
Yeah, so I'm super excited that I will be speaking with Robert Atkins. He is by far one of the aforementioned experts when it comes to the metaverse as well as animation. He's a super creative, but he's working in the world that I'm sure a lot of you have heard of already. But I will always defer to him when it comes to the expertise. I'm coming from the marketing and the business development side. So this is going to be a really meaty and fun conversation that I definitely want to have our audience interact with. So this isn't just going to be a talk. It's going to be a super fun, engaging, and immersive type of experience. So I hope people come and join us at InnoTech in April.
Awesome. Awesome. Come on, give us one key takeaway that people will be able to get from your presentation.
Yeah, I think the key takeaway is that if you really think about day to day, how much time you spend on really boring tasks, if we just do away with all of those, what would you rather do with your time? And how powerful would that be?
Yeah. And how much time we can have towards creativity.
Exactly.
And things that I hope AI can never take away from us, and that creative spirit in all of us.
Exactly.
So, awesome. Well, thank you, Nancy. And for those of you out there, be sure to connect with Nancy as well on LinkedIn. There is her QR code. You can look her up on LinkedIn as well. And let us know. Oh, we do have one question. Let me bring this up, Nancy, from Debbie Lance. She asks, what skills will people need in the future to use all these new tools? Great question, Debbie.
We'll be talking a lot more about that too. The biggest skill set is honestly the ability to learn something new. Just like the innovation space with robotics and cobotics, where we thought, hey, people are going to be replaced with robots and they're not going to have any jobs. It actually gave them an opportunity to upskill and to manage and learn coding, to learn how to work with robotics. So it's the same thing when we're talking about these technological tools, that it's opening up the space for new skill sets. And honestly, the jobs that we have today will no longer be in existence in the next 5 to 10 years. So it's really up to what do you want to learn and where do you want to go in that space?
Mm-hmm. Upskilling, so important. And Debbie's a career coach, so that's definitely something she can help folks with. Well, thank you so much, Nancy. We look forward to hearing your talk at InnoTech. So everyone out there that is geeking out over all this AI, Metaverse, and virtual reality talk, you'll definitely want to attend her talk and presentation. Thank you for your time, Nancy. Stick around. We'll still loop back around at the end of this show. I do want to play now a quick video to do a shout out to another sponsor of InnoTech, which is AWS. So let's roll that right now. Actually, Nancy, if I can call out one question that we got in the audience, Kevin Williams asks, and in a way, I've seen that too. Technology was supposed to reduce human labor, but thus far, it's also demanded more output. When will this change, or do you even see it changing, Nancy? Oh, you're muted. Mm-hmm.
There we go. Yes. So this is where we're in that transitionary period or that inflection point, specifically in technology, that the tools that we have now has pretty much made us glued to our phones and to our devices, right? So this is kind of this is where we're trudging through the mud when it comes to the era that we're in. When it comes to these tools, specifically with generative AI, this is where you're going to start seeing a lot less demand in the labor specific type of tasks and into more of the creative space. Now, the next question to that is, do we trust what these generative AI machines are going to be producing as answers? That's the main question that I think a lot of people are trying to ask right now and trying to get ahead of it, especially with ethical generative AI production. So we'll see. But I'm in the camp that this will actually by far save a lot of time, and that we'll be able to do a lot more with the skill sets that we have.
Awesome. Real quick, one more question, Nancy, for you. From Daniel Smith in the audience. Thank you for speaking. It's not really related to AI, but with the billions in B2B revenue your firm produces, what tools or tech or processes are you using for media ROAs and attribution?
Yeah, really good question. So we use pretty much native in platform for all of our social media. We do have our own team members that focus on either social media or our lead generation sales funnel. One of the biggest tools that we use is really on our media production and editing platform, and really focusing on streamlining a lot of our back and forth, passing the baton through so many of our different team members to keep track of all the different content that we produce. On top of that, we really do focus on task management as well. So we use one of those project management apps too. And we are using generative AI, testing it in a space to see where we can go with that as well. But as a lot of you know, that it's still in the very beginning. We're only a few months into a user-friendly generative AI chatbot that we can use. So we're taking it slow.
So many possibilities. It's endless. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you, Nancy. Thank you so much. And we'll bring you back for the last question at the end. Awesome. Okay, folks, I would like to bring on our final guest, last but not least of the day, Dr. Daren Martin to the show. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Daren Martin. Welcome, Daren. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm really excited about being here. Thank you.
Awesome. And we match, so that's always cool.
Yeah. I got the memo.
You got the memo. I want to read to everyone your bio here. Dr. Daren Martin provides strategic insights to companies which empower them to create an epic culture bust silos, and attract and retain top talent. Dr. Martin's thought leadership and change strategies in transforming companies earned him the title the culture architect. So cool. He acts as a trusted advisor and executive coach to business leaders at companies ranging from Fortune 500 to small companies. He's the CEO and founder of the Global Company Culture Association, a global keynote speaker and author. His Wall Street Journal and USA Today best-selling book, A Company of Owners, had sparked positive change at companies around the world and has been called the best book since Good to Great. And he resides in New Orleans. And that's why I love this conference. Like, it's not just about the tech, it's also around culture and people and the humanity side of it. And that's your expertise, Dr. Daren.
Wow, I want to meet that guy. I don't know where that bio came from, but yeah, culture is everything. Culture is everything. I asked Mark Cuban a few years ago. I was at an event at the Lowery Club in Dallas, and I said, "Hey, you own a bunch of businesses. You're invested in 150 or more. In your opinion, how important is company culture to the success of a company?" And that's exactly what he said. Culture is everything. I mean, the one thing that every business has in common is people. And the thing that we get wrong a bunch of the time is the people side of it. In my opinion, we reduced work years ago. I think it started with the Industrial Revolution down to one deal. You come to work, you do what I tell you, and I'm going to give you some money for it. And that was it. That was exclusively it. That doesn't work anymore. I mean, to Nancy's point, we're moving into a world where we get to be creative and think. And basically, that's not expected or accepted at a lot of different companies. I had a guy that was a top salesperson at a very large men's brand, very expensive men's brand. And he went up to the key executives. Now, this is the top sales guy in the world. This company has, stores in Rome and Paris and Dallas and et cetera. And he went up to the key executives and said, "Hey, I have a few ideas that I think would help us become better as a company or help us make more money." And you know what they said to him? "We got it. Thank you very much." So you know what he did? He left. Company culture is key. There's a reason why 85% of people around the world either hate their job or strongly dislike their job. And it's because we've left the human side of company, of working, we've left that behind. So we've got to recapture that. And I love the world we're moving into where we're not going to be, screwing in things and hammering things and doing kind of the rote stuff, because that's not ideally what we were really created for. We were created for creativity, for innovation. Man, I love the direction of this conference when we talk about the bold new world. We're finally shifting out of rote, mechanical, into really creative and dynamic and exciting. But that has to evolve around the people. So when we talk about, 85% of people either hate or strongly dislike their job, if you look at the global statistics, and this is year over year, this is proven to be true over and over again, we have a 15% employee engagement rate. There are three things I can say to a CEO that get their immediate attention: employee engagement, attracting and retaining top talent, and silos. And all three of those just get their attention immediately because they go, that's at the core of what we're trying to accomplish as a company and what's getting in our way. All of those can be solved by creating a company culture that is dynamic, where you don't need a recruiting department because people are lined up outside your door to go to work for the company. Think of companies down through history who that has been the case for. Zappos, back when, used to have people lined up around the block to come to work for a $12 an hour
Yes.
call center job because they wanted
Yes.
to be significant. They wanted to be involved. They wanted to be a part of something that was much bigger than just, turning wrenches and doing that stuff. The problem,
Absolutely.
by the way, Harvard produced a study years ago that said that if you get your company culture right, you'll see an increase of 756%. Write that number down. 756% to your net profitability over the course of 10 years. Now, what, CEO, CIO wouldn't be just salivating over that. And yet only 16% of executives say their culture is where it needs to be. So I'm going to map out at the conference, and I'm very excited about this. I mean, I've spoken at several InnoTech conferences. It has always been a unique and incredible and amazing experience, and I'm excited about this one coming up in Dallas. And I'm excited about meeting a bunch of really cool people because that always happens at InnoTech. But I want to talk about the 4 C's of architecting a company culture of ownership, because that's really what it's all about. And when you get down to it, people think culture is hard. Yes, it is. But culture, I would also say, is easy. And when you can understand both sides of that, and you kind of had a roadmap for how to develop and build that company culture, you're going to see some really amazing things come out of that. And it will separate you from the also rans of many, many people that are out there, many, many companies out there that are just doing the humdrum. People drag themselves into work on a Monday. I do this from stage when I speak sometimes, and I'll say, okay, I'm gonna show you Monday and I'm gonna show you Friday, and tell me which is which. And I do this one.
And Daren, yeah. And we have someone in the comments reinforce what you just said, Daren. John, he said he's left many companies because of culture, because the contract you negotiate is not the contract you see happening once you start on day one. You give it that old college try to find those, and those who stayed were unhappy, and then they contaminated the culture. So people are so important to that culture. What do you mean by a company of owners, Daren? What does that mean?
So that was, and John, great comment, by the way, because that's repeated over and over again. I can't tell you how many Uber drivers I've talked to that said, yeah, I left corporate America because I hated it. I just hated being connected with it, and it shouldn't be that way. But the actual idea of a company of owners was born out of a conversation I had with the CEO. I had a 10-year running contract with this oil and gas company. And I met him in the hallway and I said, Dave, you need to fire your employees. And he said, what are you talking about? He called me Martin. He said, what are you talking about, Martin? I can't fire my employees. I said, yeah, you need to fire them all. And he goes, I can't do that. And I said, yeah, you want a company where people act like owners. And little light went off in his head. And then a light went off in my head. He had me speak on it. And then ultimately I wrote what's now my Wall Street Journal, USA Today best-selling book, A Company of Owners. And it's based on the idea, what if you had a company where people acted like owners? And I'll have people ask me, how do people to act like owners? And I say that the short answer is treat them like owners. And so few people working at companies have agency now or are treated like owners. And so guess what? They just kind of show up, zombie through the day, and then save the best for their weekend.
Awesome. So what is one key takeaway that you want to share with folks at InnoTech that you can give a teaser now?
I want you to have a clear roadmap for simplifying the process of creating a truly great epic culture, a company of owners that will change and transform your company or your department. I mean, I know a lot of people don't have a larger scope necessarily, but if you transform your department, other people are going to take notice, and it's going to start to filter to the rest of the organization.
I love it. Thank you, Daren. And I see in the comments as well, Montine, she says that totally agree with you on people and culture. It's definitely something that a lot of people echo your sentiments, Daren. So I want to bring on all our guests here and have all of you share as to what you're most looking forward to at InnoTech. Let me just bring everybody on as well as Sean. So InnoTech is coming up, and I want to, you all have spoken or have attended InnoTech before. Let us know, what are you most looking forward to? I'll start with Nadhan with InnoTech.
So if you go to my LinkedIn profile, my banner says innovation needs collaboration. And the first four letters of my banner and the first four letters of this conference happen to be the same. And there is a good reason, because I have always seen this conference as a way to collaborate with other industry leaders, brainstorm ideas, learn from each other. And I will submit that innovation cannot happen without collaboration. So that's a double negative. So why do I look forward to coming to what do I look forward to at this conference is that fair opportunity to reach out and connect with others and learn from each other, and to like the point that was made earlier about learning is really the skill that we want going forward. So the opportunity to learn from each other and thus walk out with ideas that we can experiment with is what I get out of this conference, and I would submit you would as well if you show up there.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nadhan. What about you, Nancy? What are you looking forward to at InnoTech?
So for me, it's two words: authentic connection. I've spoken at a lot of different conferences, and I'm thankful that Sean invites me back every year, because the community that is specific to InnoTech attendees is like none other, where we can be innovative, people that really want to be creative and connect with, specific task in mind or call to action. However, the real work begins when we actually make friends and we genuinely want to help each other out. And that's something that I haven't found in a lot of different conferences. So for me, I'm excited to just get to learn and make new friends.
I love it. And Daren, before I get to that question, I have a comment from the audience I think I would love to pose to you. Patrick Costa says, sometimes getting into companies that have great culture is tough. What would your thoughts, or how would you address that concern, Daren?
First of all, that's embarrassingly sad that that's the case, because every company should have a great culture. It's a shame that only 15% of executives say their company culture is where it needs to be. But what I would say is make yourself the kind of person that they would be attracted to, and that will make it somewhat easier. And I'm sure you are, but it's embarrassing to me that we have so few companies that are actually out there that have great cultures.
Yeah. And Daren, what are you looking forward to at InnoTech?
First of all, I can't wait to meet everybody on this panel
in
right
person.
Now. Yeah, absolutely. I've met Sean already, obviously from previous events, but there are going to be some amazingly creative, smart people at this conference, and I'd like to meet every one of you. I'm looking forward to it. Absolutely.
And Sean, why do you continue to put on these conferences? What do you look forward to year after year?
Well, I jokingly say after 5 months of working on these events, I'm looking forward to the cold beverage after it's over. But
there is a happy hour, right?
Exactly. Yes, the happy hour. No, but I love the energy when you bring everybody together in the room and they're talking and shaking hands and deals are being done. And it's fun. I've spent, like I said, you take 5 months to create this. It's like planning a wedding, right? Put all this energy into something one day, and then it's fun, and then it's over and you're on to the next one. So for me, it's just a good time. I enjoy watching people get together and learn and create and collaborate and meet each other.
Yeah. And we had a comment or question from Ann Small, Sean. So for those people that may not be in technology, would they still find benefit in attending InnoTech?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, with 35 talks, there's talks on technology or specific technologies, but we also have several talks that are more, as Daren and Nancy were saying, on more soft skills, right? The human side of technology, being a better person, being a better employee, and just, having a better career. So we definitely have those topics for more business-minded people that aren't just specifically focused on the technology.
Absolutely.
I would like to add to that. So,
Please.
having the CIO for the Center for Autism, right? If you look at not just what they are talking about, but what are they leading in the industry? What business domain are they addressing? There is something to be said about the quality of life that we experience overall. So even though the talk may be about technology, the outcomes are really what matter to us. So when you look at the speakers, they cover a very diverse spectrum of industries, many of which actually impact our quality of life overall.
Absolutely. I do have a question from Daniel Smith in the audience. I leave it to whoever you think is the most suited to answer this. Daniel says, I found data governance and DevOps tend to be the best friend and worst enemy of innovation. Any guidance on how to facilitate a culture of innovation when such long-standing IT processes prevent progress?
Yeah, great question. Let me jump in. So when you think about open practices, one tends to think about open source. And when you think about open source, one tends to think about software. And you know, given everything that Daren said about the need for open culture, really, that's actually what will actually combat the challenge in the question that was just raised. But I would say if you Google open practice library, completely complementing software, there are open practices that we can actually use. And no, you do not need a license or subscription or any payment or any such thing. It's out there. And when making decisions, even when collaborating within the enterprise or with external enterprises, the open practice library is actually a set of techniques that you can learn from and then contribute back to. Just like open source is for software, open practice is just to practice that, the art of being open to address the challenges that were just raised.
Awesome. Thank you, Nadhan. And for me, I mean, I've been at InnoTech since even before the the pandemic, Sean, and there is just so much learning to be had, networking, and as you can see from our speakers, just very authentic, real human beings talking about tech and connections. And some of the comments I saw from Linda Gray, even like entrepreneurs, like come to the conference. Technology touches every part of our lives nowadays, and there's just so much to be learning, and we're constantly learning just to keep up. And then that balance of culture and topics like what Daren is talking about with culture and ownership and storytelling, Sean, you mentioned on another panel. And even for me, I'll be speaking on building your tech legacy, LinkedIn branding for technology leaders, because I'm passionate about the fact that a lot of tech leaders are kind of like the best known. They're like, people just don't know all the expertise that are out there, and they're not tooting their own horn and sharing their expertise. And I think, Nancy, you would agree in marketing, like technology leaders need to be getting out there and sharing your thoughts and thought leadership and expertise around that. So I'll be talking about that and how to build your technology legacy on LinkedIn. So we have lots of topics for you all. These are just a snippet of what's going to be at the conference. Make sure you go to InnoTechDallas.com for the full agenda. Sean, any last words before we wrap up?
I have plenty of words, but no, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for allowing us to be here and presenting these three great speakers. Like I said, we've got 60 total speakers during the day, so there's a lot more to learn, outside of this one great hour that we spent together. So thank you.
Absolutely. So everyone be sure to connect with Dr. Daren Martin, Nancy Coblenz, as well as E.G. Nadhan and Sean Lowery and all the other speakers at InnoTechDallas.com, and we'll see you there. And let's finish up with all the details and we'll roll that video. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for
Thanks, Danny.
joining us.
Thank you.